Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have part 2 of our series about small talk in English.
That's right. So as we mentioned, small talk are very short, quick conversations about everyday things like the weather, and you usually have this with a colleague very quickly or a friend maybe.
Yeah, maybe not someone you know very well, too.
Exactly. So we're going to take a look at part 2. Why don't we listen to the dialogue and see what's going on?
Soccer and cooking in my free time.
So, Michelle, let me introduce you to Maria. She's my colleague from Brazil. Maria, this is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So what do you do here in Shanghai? I mean, what work do you do?
I work in advertising right now. How about you?
I'm actually in the wine business.
Oh, that sounds really great. I love wine myself. Is this your first time to Shanghai, Maria?
No, actually, I often visit. I usually come to China for business at least once a year. Also, I love the restaurants in Shanghai, so that's a good reason to come.
Me too. Actually, there's a great Brazilian restaurant I recommend. I mean, the food is delicious, but the service isn't so good. I often like to get together with friends and have a great barbecue there.
We should go there together sometime.
Wonderful idea. I'd love that.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at some of these very interesting phrases we find in this dialogue in Language Takeaway.
I love working with kids.
Language takeaway.
So the first phrase we have today is from the first sentence of this dialogue. James says, "So Michelle, let me introduce you to Maria."
That's right. So we have the phrase introduce someone to or introduce you to.
Okay, let me introduce you to this person. So Marco, let me introduce you to my friend.
Right. And this is something that you say when you want to tell the person, look, you're going to meet someone new. Let me introduce you to my friend, Sally.
And this is very important because it's polite and it's a way for you to say, okay, you two don't know each other. Here, this is this person's name. This is this person's name.
Right.
It's very important when you are introducing people or when you're in a situation with two people who don't know each other.
That's right. Exactly. So let me introduce you to someone. Now, another key question here, I think probably one of the key questions when you meet someone new, you're talking, small talk, short conversation. What do you do here? Or what do you do?
What do you do? So this might sound like a very strange question. What do you do? Do you watch TV? Do
Right.
you like to eat food? No, but this means what job do you do?
Right. What type of work do you do?
Okay, so Marco, what do you do?
I host an English podcast.
All right, me too.
So this is the question. Now, don't get confused and remember that this is the typical way of asking someone what is their job. If you say, what is your job or
what is your occupation?
what is your occupation? It's too formal and it's kind of awkward. I don't think anyone has ever asked me, what is your occupation?
No, I rarely say that. I almost always say, what do you do?
Or maybe, what type of work do you do?
Or, what business are you in?
Exactly.
So this is our next phrase, actually.
Right. If someone asks you, what business are you in or what industry are you in, you would say, like in this case, Maria, she is in the wine business.
Okay, I'm in the wine business. That means that my job has to do with selling or buying wine.
So if we replace the noun wine with something else, for example, clothing.
I'm in the clothing business, or I'm in the cheese business.
Exactly.
You can basically change it with anything.
With any product. I guess if you sell computers, I'm in the computer business. Or if you have anything to do with computers, you can say I'm in the computer business.
All right, so that's great. I'm in the business.
Exactly. All right. So now we know what the person does. We continue asking questions. We're interested. We want to keep the conversation going a little while longer. We say, oh, wow, that's really great. I love wine myself. Then we ask, is this your first time to Shanghai?
Okay, so is this your first time to Shanghai or in Shanghai? This means, is this your first time to visit Shanghai?
That's right. Now, the preposition here is always confusing for an ESL learner because sometimes do you say, is this your first time in Shanghai? Is this your first time on Shanghai? Now we're saying to Shanghai. So in this case, or in this type of question, both are correct. Is this your first time in Shanghai? Is this your first time to Shanghai?
All right. So I could also say, if we were in Chicago, hey, Marco, is this your first time in Chicago? But I have to ask if we are in that city. I can't say, okay, I'm in Chicago today, but Marco, is this your first time in New York? Because we're not in New York right now.
Exactly.
That could be confusing. So remember, when you ask this question, you're asking about where you are today, right now.
Exactly. Very good. So on that note, let's take a break. Let's listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back with some more phrases.
Try out that new Italian restaurant in town.
So, Michelle, let me introduce you to Maria. She's my colleague from Brazil. Maria, this is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So what do you do here in Shanghai? I mean, what work do you do?
I work in advertising right now. How about you?
I'm actually in the wine business.
Oh, that sounds really great. I love wine myself. Is this your first time to Shanghai, Maria?
No, actually, I often visit. I usually come to China for business at least once a year. Also, I love the restaurants in Shanghai. So that's a good reason to come.
Me too. Actually, there's a great Brazilian restaurant I recommend. I mean, the food is delicious, but the service isn't so good. I often like to get together with friends and have a great barbecue there.
We should go there together sometime.
Wonderful idea. I'd love that.
I enjoy playing soccer and cooking in my free time.
All right, let's take a look at 3 more key phrases on Fluency Builder Part 2.
Fluency Builder.
I have an older brother. And
So one phrase that we heard from this when things started to get a little bit more personal, Michelle said, I often like to get together with friends. So this phrase here is to get together with friends.
So to get together means to be united or go with friends somewhere.
That's right. So we could also use the phrase to hang out. This means you're not doing anything in particular. You're not cooking or swimming or, going shopping, but it just means you're together with your friends. You could be doing anything.
Right, exactly. So even if you want to ask your friend or colleague, hey, do you want to get together after work and have a couple of drinks?
All right. That means, would you like to hang out or would you like to go somewhere for a drink? It's very informal and it's not romantic.
Right.
It's just with friends.
Exactly. So if you ask someone to get together sometime, it doesn't mean let's go out on a date. It just means, let's hang out.
Let's hang out. Let's be friends.
Okay. Now, so they were talking about a Brazilian restaurant and James said, hey, we should go there sometime.
Okay, we should go there together sometime is even more personal. This is a really common phrase and one that you guys should remember as a phrase, okay? We should go there sometime. That means that I would like to make plans with you to go to this restaurant.
Right, exactly. Now, if you notice the word sometime is separated. You have some and then apart, the other word is time. So it's very different from sometimes. Don't confuse it. What we're saying here is when you have time, when I have time, we should go there.
It's almost like saying one time or in the future. Sometimes it's different. It's like, I brush my teeth sometimes. That means
exactly.
that not very often. No, that's not true. But I would like to go there sometime means, it's a little bit vague. I don't say when, but I would like to in the future.
Exactly. And Michelle agrees. She says, wow, it's a wonderful idea. I'd love that.
Okay, this is another great phrase. Remember this as a phrase. Would you like to go see a movie?
I'd love that.
I'd love that. So I'd love that. I'd love to. These are ways of saying, I like the idea. Let's do it.
Exactly. So it's usually in response to an invitation
Or suggestion.
Or suggestion.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So let's take a look at our dialogue again and review everything. And we'll be back in a bit.
I like experimenting with different ingredients and flavors.
So, Michelle, let me introduce you to Maria. She's my colleague from Brazil. Maria, this is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So what do you do here in Shanghai? I mean, what work do you do?
I work in advertising right now. How about you?
I'm actually in the wine business.
Oh, that sounds really great. I love wine myself. Is this your first time to Shanghai, Maria?
No, actually, I often visit. I usually come to China for business at least once a year. Also, I love the restaurants in Shanghai. So that's a good reason to come.
Me too. Actually, there's a great Brazilian restaurant I recommend. I mean, the food is delicious, but the service isn't so good. I often like to get together with friends and have a great barbecue there.
We should go there together sometime.
Wonderful idea. I'd love that.
All right. So as we can see, It's very quick, small conversation, but very good phrases to talk to a stranger, to start up a small conversation.
I think these are great too, Marco, because if you're learning English and you want to practice your speaking skills, you're not going to have many people to talk about deep things with. So it's great to use with strangers or with people in your office.
That's right. And these are common, typical questions, and they're also appropriate to ask someone. So obviously, if you meet someone new, you're not going to ask them how much money they make, because that's kind of inappropriate in Western culture.
That's right. So what we've taught you here are very polite, very common phrases. We hope that you'll go out and practice these. If you have questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them for us. Our website is englishpod.com.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Erica, it's been great getting
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking a little bit about going to sleep or not being able to sleep.
That's right. We are having some sleeping problems, and we're actually going to check out a couple of words related to this topic right now on Vocabulary Preview.
new Italian restaurant.
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, so the first word is actually the technical word that describes being unable to sleep. It's called insomnia.
Right. So if you have insomnia, it means that you can't fall asleep. You can't sleep.
Okay, so this is a pretty serious condition. For example, if you have insomnia and you don't sleep for 3 or 4 nights, you're not going to do very well at work, right?
Right. Or if you're studying, you're tired at school, you can't concentrate. So it's a very big problem.
What's that other word, though? We have insomnia, but we also have another interesting disorder.
Right. If somebody is able to sleep but walks while they're sleeping, that person is called a sleepwalker.
That's right. And you don't actually just have to walk to be a sleepwalker.
Right.
You can do any number of strange things like basically acting like you're awake when you're not.
Exactly. So some people get up and walk, actually go outside. Some people get dressed. Some people even go downstairs and cook.
Yeah, that's right. And the worst is the people who eat because they gain weight and they don't know why.
Exactly. So sleepwalking is what you do. And if you do this, you're called a sleepwalker.
Okay, sleepwalk is the verb. Sleepwalker is the noun or the person.
All right, so we've taken a look at 2 words that we're going to find in our dialogue today. Why don't we go now and listen to the dialogue for the first time?
Dogs are so loyal.
Alex, what's up with you? You look dreadful.
Hey, Jill. I don't know. I've been having trouble sleeping these past few weeks. I usually lie in bed for hours trying to get to sleep. I've tried stretching and different breathing techniques before going to bed. I've tried eating and not eating different foods. I've even tried counting sheep. And then, when I finally get to sleep, I have these really disturbing nightmares. So I usually wake up in a panic and more tired than before I went to sleep.
Wow. Maybe you should get that checked out. Maybe you're stressed?
Just take some sedatives. Works for me. Every so often, having some melatonin on hand helps me when I have trouble sleeping. It works on all kinds of sleeping disorders. It's the stuff pilots use to regulate their sleeping patterns.
I heard of that. But does that apply to Alex's situation?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds like he only has transient insomnia since it's a recent thing, so taking melatonin should do the trick.
But shouldn't he be looking into why it's been happening?
Well, aren't you the little psychologist? Our buddy's having trouble sleeping. It's easy and curable. It's not something freakish like if he was a sleepwalker.
Well, there's that too.
Is the key to a better future for our society.
All right, we're back. So obviously this person not only has insomnia, but also has nightmares, sleepwalks, a mess.
That's right. And you can tell when someone hasn't been sleeping well. They have that look like there's bags under their eyes or they just look really tired. And so the friend here says, Alex, you look dreadful.
That's right, dreadful. So this is an adjective and it's a way to describe someone that looks terrible. You look horrible. You look tired. You look sleepy.
That's right. So this is not a compliment. This is something that you say when you're worried about someone. So for example, if someone's really, really tired, you say, you look dreadful. Or if someone is wearing very dirty clothes, they don't look like they went home yesterday, you say, oh, what's wrong? You look dreadful.
Right. I think you can also use it to describe objects or maybe food, right? This lasagna is dreadful.
Means it's very bad. And
Right.
you don't want to say that to the person who cooked it, of course.
Exactly. All right. So the person, obviously, because is suffering from insomnia, looks dreadful. And he was explaining what he does to try to fall asleep. For example, counting sheep, stretching, and he also said that he tried different breathing techniques.
Okay, so basically a technique is an approach to something, a kind of method. But in this case, we're talking about breathing techniques. So for some people, one breathing technique is breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Like that. So that's one kind of technique.
So a technique, as you say, is a way of doing something.
Yes.
So breathing techniques are different ways of breathing. So maybe you will relax, so maybe you'll fall asleep, things like this.
Exactly. It's one of those things that you might learn about in a yoga class, for example. There's different breathing techniques.
Right, and you can combine techniques with other words as well, adding the ing. For example, you have walking techniques, maybe to put less stress on your knees, or running techniques, swimming techniques. I think there's a technique for almost everything.
Just about anything you can do, there's a technique for it, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And well, moving on, he was talking about his nightmares, and he described his nightmares as disturbing. He has disturbing nightmares.
Okay, well, I think this is an important word to cover here, Marco, because we've heard the verb to disturb before. Like, I'm sorry to disturb you. It means I'm sorry to bother you. But disturbing is an adjective. It describes something that makes me very uncomfortable, right?
Right.
So, for example, a lot of times in the news, we see very disturbing images, car accidents or fires or bombs. And what's disturbing is when you see human beings who have been hurt. So, images that make you really uncomfortable or sad, these are disturbing.
Exactly. So disturbing nightmares are nightmares that are not very pleasant. They make him scared maybe or uncomfortable.
Right, like a dream, for example, where your parents die. It's pretty disturbing.
Exactly. All right. And well, one of his friends recommended, you know what? Stop with all of this. Just take some sedatives.
Okay, so sedatives are a kind of medicine that help a person relax or that help make a person tired.
Right. So I think it comes from the verb to sedate.
Yes.
And basically that is to calm down, to tranquilize.
That's right. So in this case, we're talking about a person, but you can also give an animal sedatives. For example, if you want to take your dog on an airplane, the dog needs to relax, you give it some sedatives.
Exactly. And I think when he mentioned a specific name of a sedative, it's melatonin.
That's right. So melatonin, melatonin is a chemical that our bodies naturally produce that help calm us down. And so a lot of pharmaceutical companies or drug companies sell melatonin in a pill form. It's a chemical that helps you relax.
Exactly. So obviously, if you take melatonin, you're going to feel sleepy or you're going to be very relaxed and you're going to fall asleep a lot easier.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully. That's right. So, and well, the whole thing that we've been talking about, insomnia, sleepwalking, these are called sleeping disorders.
Right, or you might also hear the term sleep disorders. They mean problems with sleeping. So people who either cannot fall asleep, or people who have bad dreams, or people who sleepwalk.
Exactly. So a disorder is something of an illness or a condition that is not normal. So for example, as you said, a sleeping disorder or a sleep disorder, it means that you're not able to sleep properly or normally.
But there are other kinds of disorders, right?
Right. I guess many people have heard of eating disorders.
Okay, so that's basically people who do not eat like everyone else.
Exactly. So that's what happens with a disorder. All right. So we've taken a look at a lot of vocab. Now it's time for us to take a look at Fluency Builder. But before that, why don't we listen to the dialogue again?
Alex, what's up with you? You look dreadful.
Hey, Jill. I don't know. I've been having trouble sleeping these past few weeks. I usually lie in bed for hours trying to get to sleep. I've tried stretching and different breathing techniques before going to bed. I've tried eating and not eating different foods. I've even tried counting sheep. And then, when I finally get to sleep, I have these really disturbing nightmares. So I usually wake up in a panic and more tired than before I went to sleep.
Wow. Maybe you should get that checked out. Maybe you're stressed?
Just take some sedatives. Works for me. Every so often, having some melatonin on hand helps me when I have trouble sleeping. It works on all kinds of sleeping disorders. It's the stuff pilots use to regulate their sleeping patterns.
I heard of that. But does that apply to Alex's situation?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds like he only has transient insomnia since it's a recent thing, so taking melatonin should do the trick.
But shouldn't he be looking into why it's been happening?
Well, aren't you the little psychologist? Our buddy's having trouble sleeping. It's easy and curable. It's not something freakish like if he was a sleepwalker.
Well, there's that too.
All right, we're back. So now we have 3 main phrases for Fluency Builder. Why don't we start with the first one?
Okay, so you heard in today's dialogue an interesting phrase. I don't know if it exists in other languages, but in English we say when you're trying to fall asleep, there's a good technique to help you do so. You count sheep.
Yeah, I think you see it in cartoons all the time. A person is sleeping, and over that cartoon's head is a little cloud, and you see sheep jumping over a fence, right?
So, yeah, basically there's a fence, and you say 1, 2,
Right.
3, and the process of counting helps relax a person.
And then you fall asleep.
Right.
So counting sheep, I guess you're not literally out in a field counting sheep. You're just imagining sheep in your head, and you're trying to fall asleep.
That's right, counting sheep.
All right. And, well, one of his friends recommended that maybe he should go to a doctor. And Jill said that by saying, maybe you should get that checked out.
Okay, so to get something checked out, to get it checked out, this means to have a professional give you a suggestion or to have a professional look at something.
Exactly. So maybe you should get examined. Maybe you should go to the doctor.
This isn't just about disorders, right? I mean, what if I have a sore tooth? I could say this.
Right. So if you have a toothache, I would recommend, maybe you should get that checked out by my dentist.
Right. Or maybe if you have a bad rash, you know, your skin is very red. I say, Marco, I think you should get that checked out by a doctor.
Exactly. So to get something checked, to get something examined by a doctor or a professional. All right. And the last phrase that we have for you.
So the last phrase we have today comes from a suggestion at the end. The friend suggests taking melatonin. And he says, listen, taking melatonin should do the trick.
Right. So if you end a phrase by saying that should do the trick, basically you're saying that should solve your problem. That should help you.
Exactly. So the trick, you don't have to think about what the trick is. It's just a way of saying it should fix your problem. So for example, when someone is fixing my car and they have one more thing to do and it's finished, he says, the car mechanic might say, that should do the trick.
Right.
That means problem solved.
Or maybe you want to hang a picture on your wall. So somebody puts a nail in the wall and that should do the trick, and maybe that'll hold up the painting.
Done.
Okay. So that's a way of saying that should solve the problem. This should be the solution. That should be all.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we go back and listen to the dialogue one last time?
I'm 27. Do you have any hobbies?
Alex, what's up with you? You look dreadful.
Hey, Jill. I don't know. I've been having trouble sleeping these past few weeks. I usually lie in bed for hours trying to get to sleep. I've tried stretching and different breathing techniques before going to bed. I've tried eating and not eating different foods. I've even tried counting sheep. And then, when I finally get to sleep, I have these really disturbing nightmares. So I usually wake up in a panic and more tired than before I went to sleep.
Wow. Maybe you should get that checked out. Maybe you're stressed?
Just take some sedatives. Works for me. Every so often, having some melatonin on hand helps me when I have trouble sleeping. It works on all kinds of sleeping disorders. It's the stuff pilots use to regulate their sleeping patterns.
I heard of that. But does that apply to Alex's situation?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds like he only has transient insomnia since it's a recent thing, so taking melatonin should do the trick.
But shouldn't he be looking into why it's been happening?
Well, aren't you the little psychologist? Our buddy's having trouble sleeping. It's easy and curable. It's not something freakish like if he was a sleepwalker.
Well, there's that too.
I work as a graphic designer at an advertising agency.
All right, we're back. So talking about dreaming, nightmares, insomnia, all of this, what do you do if you can't fall asleep?
I don't really have this problem personally because
fall asleep anywhere.
I could fall asleep anywhere, anytime. Knock on wood.
I've heard some people take like warm milk before going to sleep.
Yes, some people take milk, although I also heard that dairy products before bedtime can make you have nightmares.
Oh,
Like
really?
if you eat cheese before bed.
I've heard that as well. I've heard that if you have seafood before bed, you'll have nightmares as well. But actually, have you ever had a dream when you are doing something and you wake up in the middle of that?
Yes.
I remember once I was dreaming, I was drinking a soda. And all of a sudden I woke up and I had my hand like in the air, like doing the action of me actually drinking the soda.
Actually, sometimes this happens to me when I'm falling asleep. I imagine I'm on a bike or something, and I start to feel myself moving my legs. And I wake up and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? So the brain is very strange, I think, especially in those times when you're kind of asleep and you're kind of awake.
Also, when you wake up suddenly, I don't know if other people have experienced this, but you feel like you're falling or something.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you just wake up like with a shake.
Yeah, your body moves. Yeah, it's really
very scary.
scary.
Your heart starts to beat. I don't know why that happens though.
It's unusual. Well, we're curious to know what your sleep habits are. Do you have a hard time sleeping, or are you like me? It's very easy for you to fall asleep. Let us know at our website, englishpod.com.
All right, we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
I'm a big fan of Leonardo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're going to be helping you set up an answering machine, basically.
That's right. So somebody's calling you, you can't answer the phone, so you leave a message. And we're going to teach you all about that today.
That's right. So let's take a listen to our dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment to figure out just what's going on.
Art has a way of connecting people and transcending language barriers.
Erica,
Can you help me set up my voicemail message? I just got the service and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say.
Sure. You just basically got to let the caller know who they called and ask them for their contact information so you can call them back.
Okay, so I can say, "This is Abby's voicemail. I will call you later, so leave me your name and number."
That's more or less the idea, but try something that sounds more friendly.
Okay, so how about this? "This is Abby, and I'm really happy you called. I promise I will give you a ring as soon as I can, so please leave me your name and number. Talk to you soon."
A little too friendly, Abby. Just say this. "Hi, you've reached Abby. I'm unable to answer your call right now, but if you leave me your name and phone number, I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks."
That's perfect. Can you say that again and record it for me?
they provide an escape from reality.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at some language takeaway.
That's why I love
Language takeaway.
they allow us to dream and believe.
All right, in the first sentence, we are asking someone to help me set up my voicemail message. So we got two key words there.
That's right. So let's break it up. The first one is a phrasal verb, to set up. Okay. You can set a lot of things up, but just remember that set and up. These are the two words that go together. In this case, we're setting up voicemail. It means to establish or to start or to put together.
Yeah, to install. Like, for example, you get a new computer and you have to connect all the cables and you have to connect the monitor. So you said, "Can you help me set up my computer?"
That's right. So he always helps me set it up. So my computer, for example.
That's right. And what we're setting up is our voicemail message. So what exactly is voicemail?
Well, you know what mail is. We have email and regular mail. Voicemail is the kind of message you receive on your phone, your cell phone, or your home phone when you don't answer the phone.
That's right. So basically a way for people to leave you a message even though you can't answer them.
That's right. So this is something it's not text, it's actually a voice. So that's why it's called voicemail. And you have to set it up, okay? So there's no automatic voicemail message. You actually have to make your own, or you can choose one. And today we're making our own.
That's right. And so we're explaining that we actually just got this service, and we don't really know what we're supposed to say or how to set up our voicemail.
That's right. So voicemail messages are a kind of service. And now, who would offer this kind of service, Marco?
Probably your telephone company.
That's right. So a telephone company will offer many different services. And these are things that you can pay extra for. And they're useful. They can help you in some way. So another kind of service is three-way calling, right?
That's right. So actually, we're taking a look at this word service as a noun. So we have a service or this service.
So the company offers this service.
And well, why are we setting up the voicemail? And our friend explains that we just basically doing it to let the caller know who they called.
Okay, so if I call a number and it says, hey, leave a message. I don't know who I'm leaving a message for. Did I dial the wrong number?
Right.
What do I say? Do I say my phone number? So this is basically instructions for what to say.
That's right. And you become the caller, right?
That's right.
So whoever is making the call is called the caller. And this is why we are setting up our voicemail to let the caller know who we are calling. And of course, we have to ask the caller for their contact information.
All right, now this is important because it's not just something you have with voicemail messages. You have contact information for many different things. For example, your medical care, your school, you have to include contact information. Now this would be your phone number, your address, and or your email.
That's right. So your contact information is not only useful for in a voicemail message, but for example, in a business meeting or a business lunch, you want to get maybe someone else's contact information so you can call them later.
That's right. So don't forget, it's also your name as well. So I forgot to mention that.
That's right. Your contact information must have your name. All right. So that's pretty much all we have for the first part of Language Takeaway. Why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back in a bit with Fluency Builder.
Do you have any favorite foods?
I love Italian cuisine, especially pasta dishes like...
Can you help me set up my voicemail message? I just got this service and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say.
Sure. You just basically got to let the caller know who they called and ask them for their contact information so you can call them back.
Okay, so I can say, this is Abby's voicemail. I will call you later, so leave me your name and number.
That's more or less the idea, but try something that sounds more friendly.
Okay, so how about this? This is Abby, and I'm really happy you called. I promise I will give you a ring as soon as I can, so please leave me your name and number. Talk to you soon.
A little too friendly, Abby. Just say this. Hi, you've reached Abby. I'm unable to answer your call right now, but if you leave me your name and phone number, I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.
That's perfect. Can you say that again and record it for me?
Those are classic masterpieces. I'm more into...
All right, here we are in Fluency Builder, and the first phrase we've got is, how about this? So we're saying we've got an example for you. How about this?
That's right.
Then the example.
So we've talked about how about many times already. So for example, how about we go to the movies, or how not to say how about your weekend, because that's completely wrong. In this occasion, we're talking about how about this, and this is like setting it up for an example.
That's right. So for another example, we could say, so Marco, I'm trying to figure out how to say hello when I answer the phone, because I don't like the way I say it now. So I can say, how about this? Hello? Is that good? No?
Yeah, that's all right. That's right.
Hello?
That's too strong.
Hello?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so basically I'm setting up an example.
Right.
I'm saying, okay, so keep listening. I will give you an example.
Yeah, just imagine that you're trying on different clothes and someone is giving you their opinion. So maybe you try on a black shirt and you say, how about this one?
Boring.
And then you try on a green one and you say, now how about this?
Better.
Right? So then you're giving them other options and examples. And this is why we say, how about this? And then we give the example like Abby did.
And you're also asking for a response. You're asking for an opinion. And so what Abby's saying is, I promise I will give you a ring as soon as I can. Now, this phrase, give you a ring, is very British English, but it's also something you should know if you want to be in America because you'll hear it in TV and stuff.
That's right. It's actually a colloquial term for saying, I will call you, I will call you, I will call you back, or I will give you a call.
So the telephone rings. That's the verb that goes with a phone, right? Ring, ring. So I will give you a ring means I will call you, just like you just said, Marco.
That's right. So remember this phrase. It may seem a little bit confusing, but remember it has to do with calling someone. I will give you a ring is I will call you. Or if you say, hey, give me a ring later on this afternoon. It means call me later this afternoon. All right. And then moving towards the end of the dialogue, Abby says, hi, you have reached Abby.
Okay, this is weird because she is Abby, but she's saying, you have reached Abby.
Right, you're speaking about yourself in the third person.
That's right. So this is a message. So you're telling people what to do. Like I said, they're instructions. And so this is basically the first thing you say. You have reached Catherine. That means the number you dialed is Catherine's phone number.
Right.
So you reached. That means that you've contacted.
Right, exactly. So as you said, it's important if you ever call a bank or any type of company, it will say, you have reached Wells Fargo Bank or something, and it'll tell you what number you called because maybe you put in your finger wrong and you just called the wrong number.
That's right. Or you could use the word reached in a different way. For example, yesterday I was very angry at Marco because I couldn't reach him by phone. I called and called and called and couldn't reach him. And I realized then his phone is broken.
That's right. So actually this verb to reach someone also has to do with in general with calling. I was trying to reach you all afternoon, but I couldn't get a hold of you.
That's right. And I was so frustrated.
Well, actually, if I had voicemail, I would continue by saying, I am unable to answer your call right now because maybe my phone is off, maybe I am busy. So we say, I am unable to answer your call right now.
All right. Now, this seems really long, okay, and a little bit strange, but this is basically the standard for how to record a message. I am unable to answer your call right now. So you answer the phone, right? Or you answer a phone call. But in this case, I'm unable to. That means I can't talk to you.
Right.
For whatever reason. I'm out of the house. I'm busy. So I'm unable to answer your call right now. Just remember that means I can't talk to you right now. I can't be on the phone.
And actually, this word unable sounds a lot more polite and a lot more formal than saying I can't.
That's right. And that's why we use it on messages like this because it is so polite and so nice.
That's right. All right. So that's all the time we have for Fluency Builder. Let's take a listen to our dialogue one last time.
Always been my calling. I love.
Can you help me set up my voicemail message? I just got this service and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say.
Sure. You just basically got to let the caller know who they called and ask them for their contact information so you can call them back.
Okay, so I can say, this is Abby's voicemail. I will call you later, so leave me your name and number.
That's more or less the idea, but try something that sounds more friendly.
Okay, so how about this? This is Abby, and I'm really happy you called. I promise I will give you a ring as soon as I can, so please leave me your name and number. Talk to you soon.
A little too friendly, Abby. Just say this. Hi, you've reached Abby. I'm unable to answer your call right now, but if you leave me your name and phone number, I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.
That's perfect. Can you say that again and record it for me?
Do you enjoy cooking?
All right, so talking about voicemail, I think in the United States, this is a very, very popular and almost necessary service.
That's right. So in America, if you buy a phone plan, which most people have, that means that you can use your phone in a certain way, like every day you have free nights or you have 1,000 minutes per month to talk. But you sometimes also get these services or you pay extra for them. And voicemail is very important because people don't text as much in America as they do in other countries. And so I know in other places sometimes you text a message to someone and they receive it and okay, it's a message.
Right.
But if you don't do that, you actually have to record a message.
Right.
Like when I call my parents, they never answer the phone. So I always have to leave a voicemail message. So I say, hi, it's Catherine. It's Saturday. Where are you? Call me.
Right. Okay.
So that's that kind of, I think, cultural behavior that we just expect to leave messages for people in America.
And it's actually interesting because I've been to other countries where they also have voicemail messages and the service, but people are not as willing to actually leave the message. So it happened to me. For example, I call someone, I get their voicemail, and I don't leave a message. I just hang up. And then
you're bored or you're uncomfortable?
I don't know, because if you have a mobile phone, it'll show up anyways that you have a missed call from this person. Right. So then I really I don't really leave the message anymore. It's like, okay, you saw that I called you. Either I'll just call you back later, or you'll call me back when you see the missed call. But yeah, for homes, obviously it's different. You need to leave a message if you call someone's
although
house.
Sometimes it can be a bad thing. I definitely have a friend who loves to leave long messages.
Oh, really?
Hey, Catherine, it's me. So it's like Saturday at 4 o'clock, and I was just thinking about calling, and I was going to come over, but I decided not to come over. But then I was thinking maybe I would just call you instead, and I can see that you're not home, but maybe you're out to dinner. I remember you saying, and they just go on and on and on. There is an end. It'll go beep, and then it cuts you off.
Right. I think it's like 30 seconds or something like this. So it's very interesting, this whole voicemail thing, especially in the business world as well. Many times people go into a meeting, turn off their phones or put it on silent, and if you want to reach them or you want to leave a message, you got to do the voicemail thing.
Yeah, calls will go right to voicemail so that you don't interrupt the meeting.
Exactly. So that's all the time we have for today. Come to EnglishPod.com. We more than welcome your questions, your comments, any suggestions. You can find us there. EnglishPod.com.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about a very important topic. This is about time.
That's right. So sometimes we are a little bit lazy, or maybe we sleep too much and we're late to work or a meeting.
All right, so learn many different ways to talk about being late today. Let's take a listen to our dialogue.
Okay, everyone, shall we begin?
Sorry, Maggie, but we're missing a few people. Can we hang on a sec?
Well, I did say 11 o'clock sharp, and it's now 5 past, so...
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm late. It's raining cats and dogs outside, and I had to wait ages for a taxi.
Okay, James. Take a seat quickly, please. Right, the subject of the meeting is the importance.
Hi, guys. Please excuse me. I was held up in traffic.
Right. As I was saying, the subject of the meeting is...
Hi, Maggie. I'm terribly sorry. The traffic is murder out there.
Sit down, Bruno. Okay, now, as you're aware, the topic for the meeting is the importance of being punctual. Who would like to start?
He's full of energy. He always keeps me on.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at some of this vocab on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
So first up, we have a word that we heard. The phrase was, I did say 11 o'clock sharp.
Okay, so if you say the time, like 11 o'clock, and then you add sharp at the end, what does that mean?
That means exactly. So 11 o'clock, exactly 11 o'clock. 11:00, not 11:01, not 11:02, but 11 o'clock.
So if I say, I'll be there at 3 o'clock sharp.
That means you won't be there at 2:58. You will not be there at 3:04. You'll be there at 3 o'clock.
That's right. Okay, so 3 o'clock sharp. So if you say the time and then you add sharp, it means at that exact time. Now, James was late. He said he was late because he had to wait ages for a taxi.
Okay, so this might be confusing for some people, Marco, because I can say, what's your age? How old are you? But here, ages has a different meaning. So I had to wait ages means I waited a very long time.
That's right. So the word ages means for a very long time. It's always related to time in this sense.
Exactly. So I could say, Marco, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in ages. That means I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Okay, very good. And now the next person, Sally, came in and she said she was held up in traffic.
Okay, to be held up in traffic means to be stuck in traffic. That means you were made late because there were so many cars on the road.
Okay, so somebody or something else made you late.
That's right. So to be held up means to be made late. I could ask you, Marco, why are you so late? What held you up?
Exactly. What held you up? That means what made me late.
That's right.
So
It could be many different things.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So it could be traffic, or maybe I could be held up by the doctor. Maybe he took longer than what I expected.
Or there's no elevator and I'm waiting for the elevator and I got held up by the elevator.
Okay, very good. And now the importance of being punctual. That's the topic of the meeting. And so what is this word punctual?
Okay, so punctual is an adjective and it describes something as being on time. Okay, so the opposite of this word would be what?
So the opposite would be late.
Late. Okay, so she's a very punctual student. She always comes to class on time. She's never late.
Punctual. So you describe a person as being punctual or not?
That's right.
Okay, very good. Let's review all this vocab. Let's go back and listen to the dialogue again.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I'm a big fan of
Okay, everyone, shall we begin?
Sorry, Maggie, but we're missing a few people. Can we hang on a sec?
Well, I did say 11 o'clock sharp, and it's now 5 past. So,
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm late. It's raining cats and dogs outside, and I had to wait ages for a taxi.
okay, James, take a seat quickly, please. Right, the subject of the meeting is the importance.
Hi, guys. Please excuse me. I was held up in traffic.
Right. As I was saying, the subject of the meeting is...
Hi, Maggie. I'm terribly sorry. The traffic is murder out there.
Sit down, Bruno. Okay, now, as you're aware, the topic for the meeting is the importance of being punctual. Who would like to start?
Likewise, Marco.
All right, now let's take a look at some phrases on Fluency Builder.
thanks, Erica.
Fluency Builder.
Enjoyed our conversation.
We have a lot of really great phrases today that describe, that are excuses for not being on time or for not being punctual. The first one we heard was actually different, though. One of the students said, "Can we hang on a sec?"
Hang on a sec. Okay, so if you ask someone to hang on, that means to wait.
Hang on. Wait. Yeah,
Wait.
exactly. So hang on just means to wait. It's very casual.
Okay, now if we add a sec, hang on a sec, or hang on a minute, that means wait for a little while.
A little while. A sec, S-E-C, stands for second. And it's very common in this phrase. We hear hang on a sec or wait a sec.
Wait a sec. Okay, very good. So it's very casual, it's very spoken English, although the word sec doesn't really exist. It's just a short way of saying a second.
Exactly. And later on, we heard James come in. He was one of those people that we had to wait for. And he said, "It's raining cats and dogs outside."
That's right. Okay, it's raining cats and dogs. So are cats and dogs falling from the sky?
They are not. So this might sound very weird to you. This does not mean there are cats and dogs falling down from the clouds. But it does mean that it's raining a lot. It's raining really hard outside.
Okay, very good. So it's a phrase used to say it's raining a lot. It's raining very, very hard. Raining cats and dogs. So Maggie is trying to continue with the meeting as many people keep coming in and disrupting her. So she says, right, as I was saying, the subject of the meeting.
As I was saying. Now, this is a really important phrase because you're going to hear this a lot in meetings or in conversations where someone is distracted. So, okay, we're having, oh, wait, I'm sorry, I have to talk to this person over here. When you want to come back to what you were talking about, you want to return to the topic, you say, as I was saying.
That's right. As I was saying. So maybe you were interrupted, maybe you got distracted, and you want to continue talking about the same topic, as I was saying, and then you continue talking.
So you return to the original point you were making.
Okay, very good. And, Bruno was the last guy to come in, and he said that traffic is murder out there.
Okay, so to murder means to kill someone. But we're not talking about killing people here. We're talking about an analogy. We're saying it's as bad as murder. So in this case, traffic is murder means traffic is really awful. It's really terrible outside.
So in what other situation or with what other noun instead of traffic can we use this something is murder?
The wait is murder.
Okay.
So that means you have to wait a very, very long time.
Okay. All right, very good. So now why don't we go back to the dialogue? Let's have one last review and we'll be right back.
I believe education
Okay, everyone, shall we begin?
Sorry, Maggie, but we're missing a few people. Can we hang on a sec?
Well, I did say 11 o'clock sharp, and it's now 5 past, so...
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm late. It's raining cats and dogs outside, and I had to wait ages for a taxi.
Okay, James. Take a seat quickly, please. Right, the subject of the meeting is the importance.
Hi, guys. Please excuse me. I was held up in traffic.
Right. As I was saying, the subject of the meeting is...
Hi, Maggie. I'm terribly sorry. The traffic is murder out there.
Sit down, Bruno. Okay, now, as you're aware, the topic for the meeting is the importance of being punctual. Who would like to start?
So, Marco, are you a punctual person or are you usually late?
For social gatherings, I'm usually pretty punctual. For work, I'm usually very late.
I've noticed you're one of the last people to come in the morning.
Yeah, usually for work, I arrive late, but not like too late. Some people may even be an hour or two or something. A couple minutes, 15 minutes is all right. But I do hate to wait. If we agree to meet up at 2 o'clock and you come in at 2:30, I don't know, let's say to the movies, then I think that's really irritating.
I agree. I'm a very punctual person, and I get very annoyed when people are late to meetings or when people come late to appointments or parties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's different in different countries because in many different places they have what they call the local time. So if you say, okay, the meeting's at 9, then everyone assumes that the meeting is supposed to start at 9, but then everyone comes in at 9, but grabs a cup of coffee, talks at the cooler, gets their seat, checks their email, and then the meeting will start at 9:30 instead of 9.
Right. Or, for example, the transportation you will find in different countries can be punctual or not punctual.
Right.
In Germany, their transportation is very famous for being punctual.
Oh, really?
But in India, you will find that the trains are not very punctual. You might wait 1 or 2 or 6 hours for a train.
Yeah, exactly. So it's different in different countries. I imagine that in a place like Germany, it would be it would be considered a very bad thing to arrive late to a meeting, for example.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. So let us know, is it acceptable in your country to be a little bit late to a meeting or to an appointment? Is punctuality important? Let us know. Our website is englishpod.com.
All right, we'll see you guys there.
Bye.